Most losses, the avoidant experiences, fit neatly into their defensive narrative. The relationship ended because the other person was too needy, too emotional, too demanding. This framing allows them to walk away without confronting their own patterns, to maintain their self-image as someone who simply has high standards and values independence. But there is one type of loss that bypasses all their defenses and strikes at the core of their fragile psychological structure. Losing someone who never chased them, who maintained their dignity, who walked away with their self-respect intact. This loss is different because the avoidant cannot rationalize it. They cannot blame it on someone else's dysfunction. They must face that they destroyed something healthy through their own fear. And this recognition does not lead to healing. It leads to complete psychological disintegration. Subscribe to understand why this specific loss breaks avoidance in ways nothing else does, and what happens when they can no longer hide from themselves. The collapse of every defense mechanism. The avoidance entire system is built on the premise that they leave because others are too much. But when they lose someone who was never too much, who gave them space without guilt, who maintained boundaries without becoming cold, who loved them without losing themselves, every defense collapses. They cannot claim this person was clingy. They cannot say they felt suffocated. They cannot frame the loss as necessary self-protection. The truth becomes unavoidable. They sabotaged something good because they are incapable of tolerating healthy intimacy. This realization is catastrophic because it strips away the last remaining justification for their patterns. The avoidant must face that the problem was never the people they pushed away. The problem is them, their fear, their inability to be vulnerable, their compulsive need to destroy connection before it can destroy them. Without the buffer of blaming others, they are left staring directly at their own brokenness, and this confrontation is more than their psyche can handle. They do not heal from this recognition. They fragment, the shame that has no resolution. What makes this loss uniquely devastating is that it generates shame with no path to redemption. The avoidant knows they hurt someone who did not deserve it. They recognize they had access to exactly the kind of connection they claim to want, but were too terrified to accept it. They understand that their fear cost them something irreplaceable, and this understanding arrives too late to matter. The person they lost has moved on, has healed, has built a life that no longer includes them. There is no opportunity for repair, no chance to apologize meaningfully, no possibility of demonstrating they have changed. The avoidant is left carrying shame they cannot resolve, guilt they cannot expiate, regret they cannot act on. This emotional weight does not inspire growth. It inspires collapse. The avoidant spirals into depression, self-loathing, or destructive behavior because they cannot tolerate the person they have revealed themselves to be. They hurt someone good, and they did it because of their own cowardice. This truth is unbearable, the permanent haunting of what could have been. The avoidant can usually move on from losses because they convince themselves better options exist elsewhere. But after losing someone who offered healthy, secure, patient love, they cannot maintain this delusion. They try to connect with others and discover that no one else makes them feel safe the way this person did. They attempt new relationships and find themselves comparing everyone to the standard this person set. They realize too late that what they lost was not just a person, but the possibility of healing through relationship. This person could have been the one who helped them become secure, who created the environment where their wounds could finally mend. But they destroyed that possibility through their patterns, and now they are haunted by the ghost of who they could have become if they had been brave enough to stay. This haunting does not motivate change. It paralyzes them. They fall apart because they recognize they will likely never encounter this kind of love again, not because it does not exist, but because they are not capable of recognizing it until after they have destroyed it. The avoidant becomes stuck in a cycle of regret and self-blame that offers no path forward, only the endless loop of what was lost and can never be recovered. Why this loss is different from all others. Every other loss allowed the avoidant to maintain their narrative that they are fine, that they made the right choice, that they are better off alone. But this loss obliterates that narrative. They are not fine. They made the worst possible choice. They are not better off alone, but rather trapped in isolation by their own fear. The avoidant does not heal after this loss because healing would require them to forgive themselves. And they cannot forgive themselves for destroying the one thing that could have saved them. They fall apart because there is no defense left, no rationalization available, no way to avoid the truth that they are the architect of their own misery.